Welcome! Today, we're diving into the exciting world of geography and time. Picture the Earth spinning like a giant ball, creating the cycle of day and night. We'll explore how the world is divided into time zones, connected by the International Date Line. Before getting to all this, we need to revisit the 4 hemispheres out there. Let's go! As we saw earlier, the world has 4 hemispheres. We can divide Earth along the equator into the northern and southern hemispheres. We can also divide Earth along the Greenwich meridian into the eastern and western hemispheres. The 180-degree line of longitude is on the opposite side of the world to the Greenwich meridian. Remember, each place in the world is always in 2 hemispheres. So here we have the map of the world. And it's divided into the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere by the equator. It's also divided into the western hemisphere and the eastern hemisphere by the Greenwich meridian. From the map, we can see that India is in 2 hemispheres. India is in the northern hemisphere and India is also in the eastern hemisphere. South Africa is in the southern hemisphere and South Africa is also in the eastern hemisphere. In which 2 hemispheres is Brazil situated? And in which 2 hemispheres do you find the United States and Indonesia? In Africa, the Greenwich meridian passes through Ghana, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Algeria. The Earth's axis is an imaginary line that runs through the north and south poles. It passes through the center of the Earth. It's basically like the spine of our planet, and it's tilted at an angle of about 23.5 degrees. This tilt is what causes the seasons. We will talk more about this later. The Earth is like a giant ball. It doesn't just sit still in space, it's constantly turning. This turning motion is called rotation. Earth rotates on its axis, kind of like a lollipop stick. A rotation is turning around a fixed point. Earth's rotation is surprisingly smooth, and that's why we can't feel it. It's also really big, so we don't get dizzy like we might when we spin on a merry-go-round. Since Earth is round like a ball, only one side can face the sun at a time. Because of this, the part of Earth facing the sun experiences daytime, while the opposite side is in nighttime. Think of Earth like a giant spotlight. The sun's rays shine like the bright beam, and as Earth spins, different parts of Earth get lit up, one by one. It takes Earth exactly 24 hours to complete one full rotation, which is why we have a day that lasts about that long. Here's an interesting fact: Earth rotates from west to east. This is why the sun seems to rise in the east and set in the west. It's not actually the sun moving, but that's us on Earth rotating that makes it appear that way. Before time zones, people used local time, which relied on the sun's position. When it was noon where you stood, that was your time. This worked fine for small towns, but it gets tricky when you travel. It is a different time in different parts of the world. An evening cricket match in India will happen at lunchtime in South Africa. If you want to watch the match live, you will need to use a standard time in India and in South Africa. But before 1884, keeping time across the world was confusing. Each place relied on the sun's position for their own local time. This made communication and coordination between countries a confusing headache. The Meridian Conference of 1884 was a significant international gathering held in Washington, D.C., which aimed to address the issue of standardizing timekeeping around the world. After a lot of discussions, the conference adopted the Greenwich meridian, located in Greenwich, England, as the prime meridian, having line a longitude of 0 degrees passing through it. Universal Time Coordinate is used as a reference point globally. UTC, the Universal Time Coordinate, is at 0 degrees and all time is set from this point. It crosses through the village of Greenwich. It provides a baseline for coordinating activities across different regions. It helps in standardizing international communication, travel, and commerce. UTC uses super-accurate clocks called atomic clocks. These clocks are like the timekeeping champions, barely gaining or losing a second in thousands of years. So, UTC is basically the most precise way we tell time on a global scale. These atomic clocks are housed by national timekeeping institutions in various countries. Some of the major institutions include the Royal Observatory Greenwich in the UK. Imagine a giant orange spinning in space. That's kind of like Earth. As Earth spins, different parts face the Sun at different times. This means it can't be noon everywhere at once. That's where time zones come in. The world is divided into 24 time zones, like slices of an orange. Each zone has a standard time. Time zones change by 1 hour for every 15 degrees of longitude. The prime meridian is the reference point for time zones. Places east of Greenwich are generally ahead in time. Places west of Greenwich are typically behind. However, countries can adjust this. In theory, the world's time zones should change by 1 hour for every 15 degrees of longitude. Governments of countries adjust time zones to fit into the borders of their country. Large countries like the United States and Australia have several time zones. The government of China decided that China should have only one time zone, even though the longitude position of China means it should have 4 time zones. Now, let's move on and do some calculations. But do not worry, these are very simple calculations, and you will not even need a calculator. We want to determine the time in Sydney, Australia when it is 6 a.m. in Cape Town, South Africa. And for this we will use the map showing the time zones. Let's zoom in and see where Cape Town is and where Sydney is on the time zone map. The position of Cape Town is marked by the red circle and the position of Sydney is marked by the white circle. From the time zone map, we can gather the following information. Firstly, Sydney is east of Cape Town, so it is ahead of Cape Town with respect to time. Secondly, Cape Town is 2 hours ahead of UTC and Sydney is 10 hours ahead of UTC. Remember, UTC is the Universal Time Coordinate. You can summarize this information in your book like this. We have already established that Sydney is on the east of Cape Town, so its time is ahead. But by how many hours is Sydney ahead of Cape Town? This is an important question we need to answer. Since Cape Town is 2 hours ahead of UTC and Sydney is 10 hours ahead of UTC, we subtract 2 from 10. So this means Sydney is ahead of Cape Town by 8 hours. If it's 6 a.m. in Cape Town and we want to know the time in Sydney, we just add 8 hours to 6 a.m. So when it's 6 a.m. in Cape Town, the time in Sydney is 1400 hours or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. When adjusting time between different cities in the world, remember to follow the following steps. 1. Identify the time zones, find out the time zones of the given locations. 2. Calculate the time difference, determine how many hours ahead or behind one location is compared to the other. You can do this by looking up a world time zone map. 3. Apply the time difference. Once you have the time difference, apply it to the given time. If you are moving east, you add the difference. If you are moving west on the time zone map, you subtract the difference. Account for AM, PM, keep track of whether the time is in the AM or PM period and adjust accordingly. Following these steps should give you the correct time in the requested location. Attempt these questions and let me know of your answers in the comments sections. 1. It is 10 p.m. in New York, USA. What is the time in Cape Town? 2. It is 11 o'clock in Mumbai, India. What is the time in New York? Thank you for watching. But before we go, here are some fun facts. Local time is the current time at a particular place. Jet lag is a physical condition when a person crosses many time zones. It can lead to confusion and fatigue. Jet fatigue is the physical tiredness of flying for a long period of time without crossing any time zones. On time zone calculations, if I calculate to the west I subtract, and if I move to the east I add time. If you have any question or suggestion, please email us. Otherwise, until next time, keep well.